Hey Chickadees! Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over the books I read in February. Scott Pilgrim is about a 23-year-old named Scott Pilgrim and his daily life as being unemployed, part of a band, and dating a high schooler. Until he meets his dream girl, Ramona Flowers, and his life turns into a quest to defeat her 7 evil exes in order to be with her. Noting the problematic dating a high schooler, almost everything is played for shits and giggles, or to acknowledge the places Scott needs to improve as a person. The first volume introduces the characters as well as Ramona's first evil ex, and the second volume brings up scenes from Scott's past, where he meets a friend named Lisa and the time he dated Kim briefly, along with introducing and just utterly demolishing Ramona's second ex, Lucas Lee, with a brief glimpse of Scott's ex, Envy Adams, at the end. I actually snickered a few times at how straightforward and snappy almost everyone is in their dialogue, especially Wallace. The art style is very bold yet soft and cartoonish at the same time. I give these volumes 3.5 out of 5. The next books I read were the last 2 books in the Percy Jackson series, The Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian. During this time, I just finished watching the Percy Jackson series on Disney, so I wanted to read the books to see how the story ends. The reason I'm grouping these books together is because I pretty much felt the same for both of them. To be honest, by the time I finished The Titan's Curse, I started losing interest. Not that the book itself was bad, I just have a hard time holding interest with fantasy series after a while, but I decided to just stick with it because I was almost done reading the series anyway. And I'm glad I did, because the books were packed with so much action and tension. The Battle of the Labyrinth is about Percy and the gang traveling through the dangerous labyrinth in order to prevent Kronos' army from reaching camp. And in The Last Olympian, the characters just could not catch a break, even for a second. They were in the midst of battle and all, but still, every time you think they had a chance to take a breather, someone somewhere else in New York just needed help. I was surprised by how graphic the last 2 books got. The body count just kept growing and growing as the books went on. Of course, they were victorious in the end, but then Ricky's gotta pull the rug from underneath us, as the book ends with yet another prophecy, leading into the Heroes of Olympus, which I'm not gonna read anytime soon. Anyways, I'm going to rate these 3.75 out of 5. After I finished reading Percy Jackson, I was still on my fantasy reads kick, so I jumped into The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I have mixed feelings about this book. On the one hand, I felt slightly cheated because it was advertised as an enemies to lovers, so I was expecting Carden and Jude to interact in almost every chapter, just roasting and plotting to kill each other till eventually they hate pain or something. However, this book is mostly political intrigue, with few and far between scenes between Carden and Jude, mostly till the end. And while they are enemies, nobody talks about how the romance between them starts off as kind of a bully romance. This is one of those fantasy books where the main character goes to school only for a little bit until they don't because the plot demands it, and there's no repercussions whatsoever for their absence. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine when they do that. It's like, what's the point of having them go to school if what they learn isn't even part of what the plot needs them to do? But anyways, this book is about a human girl named Jude and her sisters who get whisked away to Fairyland, or Elphamy as it's known in this book, after her new guardian brutally murders her parents in the real world. The plot doesn't actually start until 10 years later after the incident, where Jude is just trying to survive the Fae through manipulation of the crown, making deals and breaking them, just in general blurring the lines between good and evil. Even though I was kind of shitting on this book in the beginning, I'm actually kind of curious to see how the rest of the series will go. So for now, I think I'll give this a 3.5 out of 5. Lastly, I read Unfamiliar Volume 1 by Haley Newsome, aka Lavender Town on YouTube. This volume is about a kitchen witch named Planchette who moves into a haunted house and needs the aid of other witches to help get rid of the ghosts inside. This is a charming little comic so far, and I really like the squishy art style. I also appreciate the little touch where the characters' eyes kind of change shape depending on their emotions. The characters and their motivations are so endearing and genuine, and it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Overall, I'd give this a 3.75 out of 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you when I see you. Take care, chickadees.